This is Athena StarSeed, and we are on a multi-dimensional soundtrack here, and we are surfing the frequencies of the universe. And I decided that I really wanted to reach out and talk to a multi-dimensional shaman and a beautiful being and a friend of mine, Edwin Fion. So please tell us how you're feeling with all of this and let us know what's going on with the frequencies.
Thank you for the time, the space, for reaching out, for being you, for allowing me to be me and to welcoming me into your space and your reality. How I feel right now, it's like a roller coaster of emotional, multi-vibrational experiencing. And I'd like to remind everyone who's watching right now that we are multidimensional beings. We are not one dimension, we're multidimensional. So right now that the world is going through a great awakening and a great rebirth of our reality, the emotions are palpable in ways that we no longer can ignore. So many years, society has lived ignoring things from our past and the seed that initiated something. And when the intention of creation is based on a lie, is based on hate or fear, is going to manifest itself with those elements. And when we create and recreate a new reality and we base it with love, we know that the result is going to be love, because whatever we focus on grows. So right now, I like to believe that we're focusing on acknowledging how we feel and the ways that we've been ignoring for so many decades.
You know, it's an amazing ayahuasca journey globally right now. If you think about it, I'd like you to use the analogy of the ayahuasca journey and let people know what you tell me all the time. I'm also, working with a lot of clients, but I go to you and I hear these wonderful things like healing is messy, like an ayahuasca trip. So tell us about that without having to take any plant medicine.
So for anyone who has done any type of practicing of healing, whether it's through sacred plants or talk therapy or meditation or fitness, we know that healing has different shapes and is not linear. Healing is not one-dimensional predictive pattern. Healing, you start in one point, and healing starts when we have acknowledgement. The first step of healing is acknowledgement. And the second step is allowing the energies to flow. Whatever is condensed and whatever stays in one place, it rottens. It doesn't grow. It just grows into their own messiness. At the same time, working through the healing, it can be very messy. And healing is not pretty. It's not comfortable. There are times, however, where it can be comfortable, but generally speaking, healing goes this way and then goes down and then goes up and then goes forward and then goes backwards and then goes down and then around and then all the way. And it can be very confusing. And we may be able to see, think, sense, smell, taste, understand, and even bring confusion to our reality and not know where we are. And the truth of the matter is that we think we know where we are, when in a different way, we actually don't. This is the experience of self, experiencing self. I am you, you are me. I am because we are. And when we're able to go into a greater stage or understanding of our reality, we might be able to comprehend what we're going through. But when we are going through it, it's challenging to see. We must have the separation of what we think we know to what we feel and what it could be. So we have to bring a sense and a taste of mystery to consider that there are other options. There is not only mine. There is yours, and your reality is different than mine. So the way that this can dance is really a dance, and it's a mathematical dance, and science is math, and math is sound, and sound is precise. There is no wrong in the math. There is no wrong in sound. Sound is not either right or wrong, good or bad. Sound is, and humankind is. So when we are able to understand that we are, period, end of the sentence, we are, period, and we stop trying to define the undefinable, we're not going to try to get apples out of oranges. You know, what we're trying to do is a little bit of insanity. You know, Einstein says that when we try to come up with a different result from the same formula, that's what insanity is. And a little bit of that, I feel that is happening. We're trying to find solutions and trying to define the undefinable.
So as we allow what we've always been comfortable with to dissolve, we get to what we call the 0 point. And I was talking to you earlier about when we get to 0, every moment, every breath is a blank canvas. And then we choose what colors we're going to paint on the canvas of our reality, which becomes that sound that we're resonating. The sound is color, the color is sound. When we get to 0, we can have a blank space to then make a choice instead of react. And what you were saying is anything added to 0 multiplies itself.
That's correct. If we're able to be in a place where we are selfless, yet understand that we're part of it, then whenever we are in company or we companion somebody else, we can multiply them, and we can multiply their vision, and we can multiply their joy, and we can multiply the value that they think they feel, and we can multiply the energy that it is. So if you put a 0 and you put a 1, we're multiplying, we're becoming a 10. If you are a 10, you come to me and I'm your companion, we become 100. But what happens if the 0 goes below the 10? It's still a 10 and a 0. What happens if the 0 goes to the other side of the 10? It becomes a 0, 1, 0. But if I give you company, which I hold sacred space for you, you and I will multiply, will become 100. And that only happens when I take myself away from the situation, and when I take you as you are and however you want to show up, but I don't try to put my rightness or my solutions to you. I simply give you myself as a holding space, holding you with no other purpose than being and companion with you.
I wanted to share with everybody what we were talking about earlier. We consciously dreamed together, and we were dreaming that the people that coming out protesting are bringing the police officers and the National Guard food, and they're playing their instruments, and they're painting in the streets silently in the zen of the art of their heart. Because brothers and sisters, you're out there anyway together. So why not spend 8 hours serving each other and witnessing each other, like what you said? I want to hear how the police feel. I want to witness them. I drove by and there were like 4 or 5 National Guards with semi-automatics, and I saw through the illusion at their inner child, and I loved myself. And I said, my God, these are scared kids with, you know, like everybody's a scared child. At some point in the layers of the layers, there's a spark of God if you go deep enough. And when we can pierce through that, I saw myself feeding them. Like I wanted to bring them food. I want to pray for the police officers. I want to pray for the politicians. I want to pray for the Democrats and the Republicans. I want to pray for the person that died and his family and all the people who died. And I want to pray for all the people that murdered people. I want to pray for them too.
Yeah.
So when we're at that 0, I can see every time I talk to you, you multiply me.
It's a pleasure to be in your presence and with you, and knowing that you can multiply.
So you made some earlier clips, and I'm hoping you're going to turn them into YouTube on your channel, about what's important right now, instead of picking sides, is to pick your own side, which is your inside, and feel your feelings. And so you gave a couple people some suggestions. Would you mind sharing that again?
Absolutely, yes. So for the people who are listening to us right now, I've been in a really beautiful cocoon for the past 30 plus days. I've been spending a lot of time with my mom, with my dad here in Guatemala. And I've been having such a beautiful, beautiful, loving, nourishing time. And I've been avoiding, well, not necessarily avoiding, but I just haven't been involved with news or social media, Instagram businesses, etc. So I just been home and eating healthy and exercising and nourishing with the sun. And today I came out of, to this internet world. And I was overwhelmed to see and read the posts that are happening. So I felt very encouraged to share how I felt at that moment and give some potential considerations for people to simply consider other ways of embarking this that we're feeling and we're experiencing right now. And one of them was to invite people to feel okay not being okay, and ask them, and I ask you, if you're watching this video, can you give yourself a break, and can you take a deep breath and allow yourself to be okay not being okay, and allow yourself and give yourself permission to simply be without trying to find the solutions? How would that feel? Can you do that right now? Can you live in the present without thinking of the future or the past, and simply giving yourself the gift of you in this moment? And when this happens, because we allow it to happen, we enter into a natural state of our being. And joy comes, peace, calm, clarity, happiness. Happiness is a natural state of our being. And when we're trying to be in the future or live in the past, is when we complicate our present. So can we be in the present and be okay not being okay? And can we also be okay being okay, even when others are not being okay? So that was the first suggestion. The second suggestion is to take a deep breath in and create a safe space in our hearts, and reach out to people and ask them, how are you? How are you feeling? And listen, and give them an opportunity for them to express how they feel. Trauma, as we know it, is an energy that has not been metabolized. It has not been processed. And we carry trauma in our system, whether we know it or not. Sometimes it's ancestral, sometimes it's generational, sometimes it comes from our childhood, sometimes it's something that happened last week that happened today. So can we give ourselves an opportunity to process these emotions, to allow these emotions to be witnessed, to be seen, to be heard? If we can create a safety, loving space in our hearts and offer that space to others, then we'll be allowing them, welcoming them, and encouraging them to be themselves. And the third suggestion is to love each other. To love ourselves and to laugh and to find ways that we can give ourselves an opportunity to laugh and create healthy joy and healthy fun. Have fun in a healthy way, in a way that obviously is not destructive, in a way that is constructive for you, that can construct a vibrational state and foundation where joy can easily be multiplied, become zero for you. So you can multiply yourself and become 100 and 1,000,000 and whatever you want. One of the things that I find challenging through what's happening is that if a person is feeling their feelings and then the other person says, no, this is wrong. In essence, we are telling them it's wrong to be you. And if that person says, well, I have the answer and it's because you or because them and because this happened, that's the way to express itself. And if this person, this energy says, you did this, then we're going into the past. And yes, it's important to know our past, because if we do not know our past, we're condemned to repeat it. So it's important to know where we come from. Not only what happened, but where we come from. And we are all source energy. Before we knew, before we thought we knew who we were and who we are, we were source energy. So let's remember that. And let's remember that no matter what happens, and some terrible, terrible things that happen in our humanity, but if we can go beyond that and remember in our soul that no matter what happens in our physical reality, our soul will always be safe, be sacred, be loved, be whole and holy, and be complete. If we can remember that, things in this reality are going to be a lot easier. And you, my friend, and you, my friend, and everyone, whether you know it or not, your soul will always be safe and will always go back to source energy.
Yes. And we were talking a little bit about the elements, the fire, transformation. Anything that gets put into the fire is going to get tempered by the heat adversity to the evolution of a phoenix rising from the ashes. And as humanity transcends their own initiations, they're able to see that if you dissolve everything, there's love. Dissolve the me, myself, and I, dissolve the feminine and masculine, dissolve the Republican and the Democrat, dissolve the black and the white, dissolve the nationalism, dissolve even the earthling mentality. We are in a universe of multiple dimensions, and we have to accept, include, and be at one with all of them, even when we don't understand them. So the core of this opportunity for the light workers, I feel, which everyone has a point of light, is to go in and take time to go, what did I agree to do? Where's my art? Pull it out of your heart, review your life contract, and start creating. Create in the streets. You know, he always bursts into song at any moment. So I'm thinking like a dance flash mob would be a great expression to bring the art back into your heart and share that via your home, through the internet, or in the street. Share your art and see everyone as yourself, so that you can, like you said, witness what's happening, not to agree or disagree, but to every degree, to include and transcend, so that the fires rebirth something that we haven't even seen yet. And then I'd like to ask you to please share with everybody what is here, what is and then ... Remember the...
Yes.
Because this is the pre-birth. These are the labor pains we're going through before the baby and the new earth gets born.
Yes, and every, you know, one thing that I like to mention, which I know it can be challenging for some people to understand or to even to listen, I'd like to invite you to consider that we are not love. I'd like you to consider that we are not fear. I'd like you to consider that fear and love is inevitable and is part of our human reality. However, we are neither. We don't have to be love, and we don't have to be fear. We can simply be who we are meant to be, who we are designed to be. And there is a wisdom in our souls that knows that when we are We create. And we also create when we're not. Silence creates. Sound creates. Chaos gives birth. And at the beginning of this reality, there was chaos. And even chaos has order. There is an order for chaos. And even in the 9th month or so of a woman giving birth, there is chaos. Their physical reality, their human reality, their body is in a chaos. All the systems are moved in places where they were not 9 months before. So there's a lot of chaos, and yet there is birth of light. And right now, we are growing and we're giving birth to our new reality. It takes about 5,121 days, based on indigenous knowing and traditions, that Earth changes days. So Earth has 4 days. The week of Earth is based on 4 days, and every day is 5,125 human years. Right now, we're going from day 1 to day 2. We are in that cusp. So you can imagine why this is happening, and it's happening so intensely. And numbers do not lie. Numbers are numbers, and it's literally 2020 is our vision. So right now we're seeing clearly what we've been denying for decades. And consciousness has a certain wisdom and inner knowing. And we were not, I won't give you specific numbers, but I know that people from some time to now, they're understanding the concept of oneness. And people say, yes, we are one, which they're trying to say, you are me and I am you, right? And that's wonderful that people are having that understanding. And I'd like to offer you to consider the next step of the consciousness evolution, which is allness. Oneness, as beautiful as it sounds, is what we know so far, what we know now. We only know what we know until it's shown something different. We know something else. So I like to present the idea of allness. Oneness, in a way, it's exclusive, because we're saying we are one, which means they are not one with us. So it's excluding some parts of the equations.
Right.
And if we consider allness, we are all, then it's inclusive. We are also saying that the pain that you are feeling, I have felt. That the wisdom within me and the wisdom within you lives everywhere. We are not separating. We're not trying to become, you are 1 and I'm 0. We're becoming allness. We're all. It's all the numbers. It's not only number 1 or number 2, it's all the numbers. We are all the numbers. And guess what? The numbers are infinite, as consciousness is. Consciousness, or life as we know it, I like to consider that is an ever expansion of consciousness. That's life, an ever expansion. And that expansion can go outwards and inwards. And sometimes, before moving forward, there's another way to move forward, which is staying still with our emotions. Otherwise, we'll be moving forward with our emotions. So even though we're walking, or we think we're walking, we're not going anywhere. We're taking everything with us. So how about we stay still and we feel our feelings and we allow our heart to be heard. So this is why I was sharing with you before, and advising or bringing an opportunity to consider, for people to consider, to ask questions to others and ask them, how are you feeling? This energy that lives everywhere and in our bodies is not going to go anywhere unless we heal it, unless we go through these 3 steps of healing: acknowledge, allow, and transmute. Otherwise, what's going to happen is my pain, boom, it goes to your pain. And then their pain is going to go to their pain. and they're paying to somebody else. So this is the wisdom, and I really honor the wisdom of fear. Fear is a muse that is seductive and smart and brilliant. Do not underestimate ego and fear, because what it does, it separates. It knows that when we are separated, we weaken. When we're together, our strength becomes a fire that transmutes all the fear and all the doubt. So it's important for us to be safe within ourselves and give ourselves permission to be for us first, to understand that loving me is loving you, that hugging me is hugging the entire universe, and understanding that there is a process in this physical reality. There is a process for healing. If we get a cut and we keep poking it and touching it, we're not going to heal. It is important that we let our emotions be seen and be witnessed and feel them. But if we keep poking at them, we're just going to not allow the healing to happen. And I'd like to introduce you another idea. There are 3 types of healing. There is organic healing, the healing that happens organically. You get a cut, you will heal. There is conscious healing, healing that we focus our attention to look what happened, how it happened, consider the what, when, who, etc. And we are putting our energy into it. And there is also divine healing. Divine healing is the healing that surpasses any understanding in our human reality. It surpasses gravity and is multidimensional in ways that we do not comprehend. There are certain, yes.
I felt that. He just sent me a bolt of energy. So maybe they felt it too.
So let's consider that. Let's consider that there is divine healing, and there is healing that can happen when we allow it. Sometimes an energy wants to heal and be processed organically. But if we try to put conscious healing to something that wants to heal organically, we're setting away the opportunity for that to heal. So for example, if a person say that I come to you, Athena, and I'm mad and I'm angry and I'm pissed, and then Athena tries to fix me or teach me or preach an idea, I'm not ready for it. I am not ready. I'm still working through the pain and the sorrow that I'm feeling, that my body's processing. So I am, if you let myself be for a little while, and then I'm able to process, then I'm gonna be able to hold the space where I can actually receive conscious healing. So let's allow people to feel their feelings and tap into our inner knowing and observe when they are ready to hear. We cannot give to others what we don't have inside. So let's create a place within ourselves that is safe, that is sacred. Something that comes to my mind just now. How can we as a society expect that somebody else is going to listen to us when we're not listening to ourselves?
So I want to jump in there because I got this visual when you were talking. Everybody has to tune into their own note, and the space is the rest between the notes in the symphony. And so if we can rest in our chest, we can tune into that inner space to then be able to play our note. And if other people have rested enough, they can hold the space for the other note to play. So we're not playing the note at the same time, like clanging bells. And I just want to say that it's a beautiful time to be able to say humanity's growing up out of its adolescence, to be able to not be right or wrong, but to hold space, which does transcend love. It becomes, we don't even have a definition for what it is when you hold space. it's indefinable. And that's where when you're talking about, we don't know how it's going to unfold. Let's just allow the present to be in the perfection of the messiness of the healing, the afterbirth, or even before, the labor pains, the throwing up, the 9 months. We are healing multidimensionally a planetary system in a very short amount of time. I want to give everybody a high five for showing up for the ride. Right? And
Yes,
I'd like to say, if anybody's watching this that knows a police officer, please send them this clip. Or anybody knows anybody in the military, please show them this clip. I mean, I would love to see you work with these types of groups of people, because you do a lot of conflict resolution with people who have been severely abused or traumatized or PTSD. And I think that witnessing part is the rest in the music, so that the music sounds melodic, harmonious.
Yes. You're mentioning something about trauma, which is something that I work very often. And one of the elements that I see that is very, very, very helpful is to allow the person to feel their feelings and to be witnessed through that process. I don't tell them it's right. I don't tell them it's wrong. I don't try to advise or teach anything. I simply hold space, meaning being present with no intention to fix anything. Simply being present with intention of being.
There is a silent magic that is indescribable that has, the power that has. I mean, to me, it opens up to samadhi.
There is also another element that was, as we're talking, I want to acknowledge that there's so many thoughts that wants to come out and be shared. So I'm going to share one for you and as a reminder to me as well, for the people who are watching this. Well, this is my book right now.
Wake up, America. No, wake up, global consciousness.
So this is just a tool that people can use, that I often use when I feel that my humanity is not the way that will create harmony. Okay. So number one, there is an event, and the event is right there. If we let that event be, it's not going to grow. Let the event be the event. Sometimes the operating system that we actively learn and have make things a little bit more complex. What that means is that from this event, sometimes we create meaning. And meaning making is so beautiful and is so powerful, and grows things from what they are. So if you do want to grow things in a positive way, yeah, create meaning. However, when something negative happens and you create meaning around it, then you're making it bigger. And what happens is that oftentimes is very, very easily after that meaning making, we create storytelling. So we create a greater circle around it. And when we do that, oftentimes we create an even greater circle. And that's guilt and blame and shame. So then we start talking about, it's my fault, I should have done this, or it's his fault or her fault, they are to blame. So you see how we can create something so big out of something so small. And if we can let that space that is be for a little while, eventually that little piece is going to shrink, because the light will always be greater than the darkness in this dimension. Yes, we are not love and we are not fear. Yet in this dimension, light is much powerful than darkness. If we are in a room full of light, but there is a chair that is going to create some shadow, you may not even to recognize that much the shadow. However, if you are in a room full of darkness and there is a small, tiny light that goes through, that's where your eyes are going to go. That's where the attention is going to go, because we are designed to follow the light, sunshine, to follow the sunshine. Our bodies literally, you see the sun. Oh, weather is a mathematical mystery the weather, when our bodies are in the sun, the vitamin D brings so much joy to our bodies. And that's light. We are star seeds. Our physical our bodies are made out of exactly the same material that the stars are made. So let's remember where we come from.
And I also want to remind everybody that, like a jellyfish, we have access to a luminescence in our own DNA. And that's what happened to the saints. When they allowed that adversity to polish their soul, they turned on and they started to glow, and they became the points of light in the darkness. And so that's what you are for me, is like, you're a point of light. And there's so many of us out there that are points of light right now. And for us to just keep the lights on.
Let's keep the lights on. And for all our brothers and sisters who are going through pain and sorrow and difficulties, please know that we're thinking of you, that you care, that you matter, that you're valuable, that you're precious. I don't intend to have all the answers to something that is multidimensional. However, I know and I recognize that there is wisdom around it and through and within me. And I understand and I recognize that also in you.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I just want to say that being in an open creative state, if that's all we can do is just return to the breath and then exhale and create, even if each one of us listening to this chose a moment of the day to be creative, consciously creative, that would be the radio station dial turning, frequency shifting ability to share that light at larger broadcasts. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just being on one channel,
Yes.
that light turns up and it penetrates all the dimensions, just where it is right now.
Yes, it is. And what that's going to do is be able to grow the vision that we have. We have a tendency to say, I want to look 360 degrees. I'll be able to look. How about we incorporate also 720 degree vision? So we actually can see up and backwards and down and this way fully. So we can create a 720 degree. So there's going to be a vision like this and a vision like this.
Like an atom.
And
like the energy
like
around
an atom, yes,
like an atom.
And
Atom, returning to atom, the original conscious particle connected to everything.
And we are that in a very microscopic way, and yet a very infinite way. There is no end to our inside system, and there is no end to our outside system. And the idea of separation, in my opinion, is what is creating this, because somehow we still think that we are separated, and there is no separation.
Well, I feel that most of the beings that are waking up are now pausing for that rest. With the virus gives you the rest to go into the crown, to see 2020 and go, now I have a choice to either participate in the narrative or in the heart. Yes. And I want you to please explain the next level up. You did 2, which is oneness, and then allness, and then
allness, which comes to this. The next step, my belief, is that the next stage on consciousness expansion and evolution is isness. Everything is. Everything
so oneness,
is.
Allness and isness.
Yes. So that might be a little bit too far away for some people who are starting to work.
We're light workers.
Yes. Yes. And this is going to feel so natural for so many more, because we are that we create. And I also want to acknowledge that there's some people who are just waking up, and I want to gather them with open arms and kind arms and letting them know that it's okay that they don't have the answers. I don't have the answers either, but they are welcome. So welcome to this new reality. And for those who've been walking in this path, isn't that delicious that we can experience that everything is? And then after that isness.
Wait. You stay on isness for a second. You need to stretch that out a little bit. That means what you're saying to me is I have to look at the riots and say that is, and I have to bless it, or I have to look at the death of this poor man, or do I like all the injustice? Talk about isness and apply it like a flashlight to the present moment.
Yes. Yes. So, for example, right now, as I come out to the internet, into the channels and the news and my friends and group chats, I understand that currently there is a lot of confusion. So I am acknowledging there is confusion. And by me acknowledging that there is confusion, I allow that confusion to transform and be whatever else that confusion wants to be. What happens is when we ignore energies, they multiply in ways that are not inclusive and productive, not as inclusive, but productive. So if I have, hypothetically speaking, a tumor on my shoulder and I ignore it, what's going to happen? If I am not living a harmonious life, if I am, drinking things that are negative for my body, that are not supported, that tumor is going to grow, right? So, however, if I go like, oh, there is a tumor in my shoulder. Okay, there's a tumor. Okay, what are my choices? I choose to energetically remove it. So I take it, I remove it, and then I pray for it. And I declare that energy to be transmuted back to their original form, source energy. And then in time, this tumor is going to disappear. If I take this out and put it somewhere else, somebody else is going to catch it. That's how energy works. I don't make the rules of the energy, but that's what happens. If I'm angry and I go to a friend, like, la, 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 if that person is not centered and I leave, that person is going to remain with the energy that I left, right? So if that person says, oh, my friend is feeling anger, then I'm consciously deciding that that is an energy that a friend is feeling, but that is not me. So the acknowledgement of the isness is truly empowering. So acknowledge everything that is without the necessity to change it, because something that is a reality is that there is nothing else that changes. I'm going to rephrase it. The only permanent thing in our human experience is change. So if we understand that everything has a lifespan, that is going to transmute in something else. But if we try to do something with it when it's not meant to, it's going to cover itself, it's going to get stronger.
So you're talking about opposition. You're talking about trying to fight something. There's opposition,
yes.
And you're perpetuating the dynamic energy, and it'll eventually be kinetic. So you're flowing with what is, you're allowing and accepting, you're feeling the emotions, and by witnessing them, or your friends witnessing your friends, you're giving it space to actually, like a hurricane, unwind. Energy is neither good nor bad. It's neither created nor destroyed. It's just energy, right?
Is energy. Is energy. So if we go back into the core of the isness of the reality, we're not going to fight it. We're not going to have the desire to fight it because we understand that is. And also there is going to be a moment that we are so in tune with the isness that we're going to understand immediately what is not.
And that, I feel, comes with the experience of transcend dance. And it's interesting, you were a dancer. So you were moving.
I'm still am.
Well, you are. I feel like, professional athlete, professional dancer, like musician, like right now you've been a shaman to me. However, you have all these different dimensions that you became proficient in. And I feel that moving energy, dancers know because they feel it in their body. Where you feel it.
Yes. Dancing gave me, I played professional, well, not quite professional soccer, but I was in the national team of one of the main soccer teams here in my country. And one of the things that I learned as an athlete and as a dancer, it's to be comfortable with the floor, be in peace. Falling is inevitable as well, and being there gave me the ability to understand that there is density, that there is gravity, that there is so many ways and forms that I exist, and that I don't stop existing or being simply because I fail.
And also too, I mean, I just want to jump in on that. I did stunt work when I was younger, and the most important thing was to teach people how to fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, an athlete is aware of their body spatially when they fall. And the preparation to fall is to fall in the experience fully, so that when you get up with the wisdom of the gift, and now you take that with you in the isness.
Yes. And we can recognize is falling, is in the floor, it's happening, things are happening. So it's also take a texture of selfless, because we are taking from I am falling to this energy is falling, but I am not necessarily falling. I am what I am. My body is falling. My ego is being hurt. My mind is in disalignment with my heart, but I don't have to go into I am in disalignment. I am, because I am undefinable. So when I try to define me, when I'm undefinable, then I'm creating dimension of my beingness, and my being is exquisite and expansive and unlimited. So it's really learning about being in the flow with nature. And when we learn that we are an extension of nature, we're going to stop fighting what nature is giving and providing us.
So this is beautiful fertilizer.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, culturally and globally, this is beautiful fertilizer to grow a new golden garden of Eden. And so you went from oneness to allness to isness, and then what's beyond isness?
So remember that there are parts in our being that is difficult to understand. So although I may not be accurate with what I'm about to say or as precise, I believe, and I've been shown, that will be a next stage of evolution. So we go oneness, allness, isness, sound. And it can be a simple sound. It's going to be sound, and we're going to be living multidimensionally. And we have already done that. In this earth, there has been...
Actually, keep talking. I'm going to let somebody in. Keep talking.
Okay. I'll keep on talking. So one thing that I find very important to understand is that right now we are, as a humanity, we are focusing so much on healing, and healing is so wonderful and so powerful. Healing is definitely a way for us to be able to bring our energies and the trauma that we have been carrying into a place where it has been transmuted. So healing is wonderful. However, if what we want is to live in sustainable harmony, it is important that we understand that there's three main pillars for sustainable harmony. Healing is only part of it. Healing is one of it. It's wonderful and it's powerful. And as I mentioned before, there is three types of healing. There is organic healing, conscious healing, and divine healing. So let each part of healing be what it wants to be. So that's one part of the pillars for a life of sustainable harmony. The other pillar is to recognize that love and fear are inevitable and they're part of our life experience. So one big part is to actually create a safe, sacred contract based on love. How much love do I give myself permission to create, to feel, to share? It doesn't matter how much healing you have had, I have had, or the world has had, if we still have not created a sacred contract when we are giving ourselves permission to feel unconditional love, to create unconditional love, to share joyful love. It doesn't matter how much healing we have had, we won't be able to get this. So this is part of the humanity. That's part of the human side of our experience. Animals has a different contract. They already have a clear contract. We, in the other side, we get to choose more consciously the contract, more precisely the contract that we want to create. So there is that love. And then the other part is the ego. Ego is not right, wrong, good, better, worse. It doesn't need healing either. We can see that there is unhealthy ego and there is healthy ego, or that there is ego that is in a different stage of their growth. There is infant ego, there is adolescent ego, there is adult ego, and there is something I call mature and wise ego. And ego can really help you in so many different ways in life, as well as making things complicated if the ego is not mature or is unhealthy. So that's the second pillar. And the third pillar, which is one of my most favorite, is one of the most complex, I will say, and yet complex to understand. But once you're in the flow, then there's not much to understand. And it's being in flow with nature, learning that nature has a wisdom and allow that wisdom to be. For example, if we have a partner and that partner is in a lot of pain and we try to be the healer of that partner, guess what's going to happen to romance? It's going to go to the back seat, really in the back. The last thing they want to try to do is to be intimate, because we are trying to become something that we are not meant to be. Is that if I want to heal my mom or heal my dad and I'm the son, then I'm going against the order of nature. Nature has wisdom and it has an order. And if we learn how to dance and be in flow with that order of nature, then alongside of healing and the relationship with love and the maturity of our ego, we're going to be able to create a sacred, loving, fun, exciting, sustainable, harmonious life.
Okay, first of all, I want to go and watch this as soon as we turn it off. I want to go back because you have just given me so many different wonderful jewels of wisdom and the lotus of enlightenment. I feel it's such a powerful time for everyone to share their gifts, and your gift is so crystal clear. It's a crystal clear bump out of any Houdini tie-up, you know what I'm saying, to unknot anyone in any direction. It's an opportunity to say, hey, there's so much light here inside of each and every one of us. And the way you work with clients all over the world, I've done several of your sessions, and you're working with people all multicultural, everything, multidimensional, lots of healers. And I know you have some things also coming up. Is there a place where people can get a hold of you or do some work with you personally?
Yes, they are welcome to contact me. Currently, my easiest way to be in touch with me is through email. My email is Edwin Fion, EDWINFION @gmail.com. And I just started an Instagram, which is my name, Edwin Fion. So you can look at me over there, and then we can set up a time to talk.
Okay, and as we close this up, I would love for you, just in a brief nutshell, because every soul comes to the planet and they have a previous agreement and they agree to do certain things. And I feel to contextualize where your resonance is coming from is a little bit about who you are and why you were born. Can you just give us who you are and why you were born? You know what I'm saying? Like the information you came in with, a little bit about you.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you the conscious and then the mystic side of it. Who I am, well, it's undefinable, yet I'm an individual. I was born and raised in Guatemala, where I'm from, and I was born awakened. I was born listening to spirit. And when I was little was a little bit difficult when I realized that not everybody was listening what I hear. And then I realized that there was something different about me. And then I asked my mom, I'm hearing this. And my mom says, oh, that is your intuition. Yet my mom is a medium and she didn't know how to help me navigate. But what she did, well, actually she did. She gave me a very safe place for me to be. So every time I will come with an idea or a thought, my mom will just ask me questions and she'll say, how do you think? What do you think? And how do you feel? And she'll just love me. And we were really in flow of nature. My mom, the design of a mother is to create and nourish a safe space for a child. And we learn from the father to be empowered and guidance. So I was given these beautiful gifts that allow me to grow. When I was 19 years old, I came out of my body. And then it was a little scary because I came out of my body. So I am, you can imagine that. Ta-da! And that was a little bit challenging. So, many mystical different things have happened through my entire life. And maybe about 10 years ago, I decided to start walking back into that path because I felt that my human experience was fulfilled and I was able to take almost where I left. So I started tapping back into my spiritual path and I developed my skills greatly. I went to Arthur Findlay College, which is the only college in the world for the development of psychic abilities and mediumship that is in Stansted, England. And through that and many other sacred plants, medicines, rituals, here in Guatemala, my lineage is Mayan and the cosmovision of the Mayan. We have 20 Nawals, which are kind of like the zodiac sign. In every Nawal has a certain wisdom, and every Nawal has 13 different, I call it reincarnation. Other people treat it a little bit differently. I am Can 13. What that means is that Can, K-A-N, is the voice of God on earth. I'm not saying I am God. I'm just saying I'm aware that through me, there is wisdom that can be shared with others and with myself. I don't own the wisdom. Nobody does own the wisdom. I simply am aware that I can channel. And sometimes I feel a little too much. And this is what today was overwhelmed and I was in tears. I was crying because I was tapping into a greater energy that is outside of this beautiful home. And it was very, very overpowering. And I'm the 13th reincarnation. So that made my life quite different than what I thought I will have as a child. Yet, even as a kid, I knew that there were so much possibilities and nothing is set on stone. I'm choosing this path. And on another way, who I am is work in progress and evolution. And I give myself permission to make mistakes and to create and also to destroy. I sometimes give myself permission to destroy a belief system that no longer serves me. So I destroy it and I honor it. I say, thank you, belief system, I used to think when I was a little boy, I used to think that success, as we know it, will only happen to white people because I was a brown skin and I was a lot darker through my life. I don't know why I became lighter. Maybe because I moved to New York and there is not that much sun, like 6 months out of the year. But I used to think that. And then one moment, I don't remember exactly when, but I do remember the feeling that I said, no, this is a belief system that was given to me culturally. And I'm going to destroy it. And I destroy it. And then I bless it. And then I transmute it back to their original form, source energy. And that felt amazing. So I give myself permission to be. And I'm not always so in tune. Sometimes I get angry, not very often. I get more confused than angry. I get more confused because and more curious, actually. I get very curious because I love life. I'm fascinated by humanity and the way that we think and the way that we feel. So I get very, very curious. And then now I literally just rewrote my sacred life contract. Can I share it with you?
Yes, I was going to ask you to close with that because I think it's so important. But before you share that, though, you missed the part about your mainstream life. You didn't say what you used to do as a profession. And I think that's important because you have really balanced it out. And so many people are on different levels of the awakening from these really professional careers into their more spiritual destiny life plan. So just for
All
a brief
right, thank
talk about
you.
that.
Thank you for that. Thank you for asking me that, Athena. I really appreciate that. It's for me sharing this. It's part of valuing my humanity and the path that I have chosen. So when I was 19 years old and I came out of my body, I realized that if I were to choose that path, I would be living a different life. And I know in my soul that one of the things that I came here to experience is unlimited amount of joy and pleasure. That is one big part of my existence. So I said, I'm going to walk this path because this is what I came here to do. However, I'm going to do something slightly different that will incorporate some of this. And whenever I want to, I'm going to fully pick it up. So
But
what I decided...
tell them what you used to do, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, what was your occupation? What did you do?
So what I decided is to become a choreographer, an artist, a dancer. And I moved from Guatemala to New York without speaking English. I didn't know anyone. I didn't speak the language at all. And however, I have tons of bags of dreams and hopes. And when I was in New York, within the first week auditioning as a dancer, I got 6 offers of contracts to become a dancer. And I immediately became a dancer and started touring around Europe and United States in multiple different theaters and states. And I was able to be part of Broadway productions. And I was in national TV. One Life to Live was a TV show that I participated on. I was teaching at the university level, and those gave me so many different experiences and so much joy. It was so much fun to be. We used to perform. We used to have a dance performance that we traveled around the world with the Vanaver Caravan. It was a tribute to Woody Guthrie. You know, this land is your land, this land is my land, and we used to do tap, clogging, swing dance, Irish step dance, modern dance, ethnic dances from around the world. So that was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot from Livia Vanaver, the director of the company. And through her, we were working with United Nations using dance and music as a healing process and a sacred space for people to heal through the arts after 9/11, because there were so many people who were absolutely traumatized. And through that, I was inspired to sort of like stop dancing and entertaining. Although I was entertaining, I was always dancing for myself. And I decided to create a company called New York Dance Residency to inspire and motivate children to celebrate individual expression and cultural differences. And I've been doing that for, I think 15 years. I lost count. And we see about 3,000 kids in New York and around United States. And what we do, we dance with them. And we let them know that it's okay to be. And we spread a lot of love, and we make a lot of performances, and we celebrate life. In essence, we celebrate life. And I've been doing that for a very long time. And when I was maybe 20, 21, I started doing life coaching, not with a title. I just started coaching people. And then it came to a point later on my 20s that I will have too many people coming to do coaching with me. So I start actually charging. So I've been doing that for over a decade, and that's what I mainly do now. Besides personal, individual, holistic and sacred rituals to help with deeper spiritual healing and physical healing and body healing.
Now, I cannot remember how we met.
So the way that we met was because I was actually with client in LA. I travel between LA, New York, Miami, Vegas, etc., different places in Europe as well. And I was in LA, and one of the clients, I was hanging out with one of the clients, and he went to see you. And I just went as supporting him, you know. And when we were there, you were giving me a reading.
Now.
And I was just very supportive. I didn't say anything. And then you start reading me head to toe, very precisely, very accurate. And you talk to me about who I am, my skills, my talents, where I have been. And then I start getting messages for you from somebody who passed in you know, its transition. And then you were able to you know, confirm that that name and that energy was there. And then we start processing, we start helping each other with that. And then later on, like maybe a couple years after,
When we exchanged phone numbers.
we exchanged for numbers, we start becoming pen pals, and then we call each other from time to time. And then there was a time that I just feel very cold, like there was an energy that was saying, connect with Athena, connect with Athena. And I'm like, okay, I hear you, I'll connect with her.
That's what happened to me today. They told me to call you today. They say, call him. And this is why.
Thank you for answering. Thank you for delivering the message.
So listen, I just want to tell you that I love you. And I know that we're a little bit over the hour, but my computer's about to die. So I want to just wrap this up and say, thank you so much for being who you are. I love you so much. And those of you who would like to reach out or do a session, I actually did one of your ceremonies and they were beautiful, and you're doing some of them now online, but say your email once again, and then we'll close out.
Sure, happily. Edwin Fion, EDWINFION @gmail.com.
Beautiful. And
very quickly, I know we're gonna go. I'm just gonna read you very fast.
Hold on, wait, let me plug my computer in. Let me plug
an idea. This is so people can have an idea that creating a sacred contract is planting a seed of what the life experience you want to have. If you're clear of the life experience that you want to have, then and you nourish it, it's gonna grow. Sometimes people find themselves lost. And then they come to me and said, you know, I very wealthy people who are a lot of access for economical flow, yet that there's a part of them that they are not feeling so well, and all types of people as well. And they come, and then I realize that they don't have a clarity with the sacred contract that they want to manifest. So this is mine, and I'm sharing with you. My sacred life contract is to celebrate life. That's the beginning of my sacred contract. I want to, and I desire, and I am celebrating life. To be, to live in love with you, in love with me, in love with us, in love with them, in love with all. To celebrate the loving, joyful, wise, fun, kind, unsure, curious human I am. Celebrate me as I am, and understanding and accepting that I am undefinable, and then I am, and then I'm not, and then something in between sometimes. And to accept that everything is and isn't. Be in acceptance with everything that is and isn't, and to live surrounded by love, care, joy, kindness, peace, health, and happiness, and create and live in sustainable harmony with my heart, mind, body, and spirit.
You have just inspired me to rewrite my own mission statement. And I want to just include everybody that this is a wonderful expression that we can all rewrite who we're being in the present moment. I love you so much. I thank you. I will send you this video as soon as it's posted. And those of you who want to connect, I highly recommend it. And more dancing, more singing, more playing, more praying. And thanks for being born. Thanks for descending down into the earth plane and bringing the heaven on earth through who you are and helping others do the same. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thank you. Mwah. You are loved.
Blessings and light. Let's see. Stop recording. Oops. La la la. I gotta figure out.